Welcome to Sapharsh TV. Today, we are thrilled to share a single video that captures the essence of all the chapters of Srimad Bhagavadgita. This video offers a comprehensive overview of the timeless teachings presented in the Bhagavad Gita, which are relevant to all of us in our pursuit of harmony, peace, and spirituality. The Bhagavad Gita is not just a religious text, but a guide to living a meaningful and purposeful life. It offers practical wisdom and guidance on how to cultivate a spiritual life while fulfilling our worldly duties. Its message is universal, and its relevance is felt by seekers of all backgrounds and beliefs. In this video, we explore the essence of the Bhagavad Gita and how its teachings relate to our daily lives. We delve into the themes of karma, dharma, and self-realization, and how they contribute to our path of self-discovery and self-realization. We believe that the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita is particularly relevant today, as we face so many challenges and struggles. Its message of love, compassion, and selflessness is a reminder of the importance of cultivating inner peace and harmony, which can lead to a more peaceful and harmonious world. We thank you for taking the time to watch this video and invite you to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel to stay updated on our latest videos. We welcome your suggestions for future videos that you feel will connect you with spirituality and help you on your path of self-realization. Remember, at Sapharsh TV, we believe in one world, one connection, and one truth. Let us all work together towards a more peaceful and harmonious world. Thank you for joining us on this journey of spiritual discovery. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into the Bhagavad Gita, one of the most ancient and revered spiritual texts of all time. In particular, we're going to explore the essence of Chapter 1 of the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna Vishudha Yoga. This chapter sets the stage for the rest of the text, and it contains some incredibly profound insights into the nature of the human mind, the essence of Dharma, and the path to spiritual enlightenment. The story of the Kurukshetra war, which is the backdrop for the Bhagavad Gita, is well known. But what's often overlooked is the deeper symbolism behind this story. In Chapter 1, we see the Pandavas and the Kauravas, two branches of the same family, preparing for battle. On one side is the Pandava prince, Arjuna, and on the other side are his cousins, including the Kaurava prince, Duryodhana. Arjuna begins to feel conflicted about the prospect of going to war against his own family members. He realizes that this conflict isn't just about winning or losing, but it's about something deeper. It's about the struggle between dharma and adharma, between righteousness and unrighteousness. Arjuna's conflict is a reflection of the conflict that we all experience in our lives. We all face situations where we have to make tough decisions, and we're not always sure what the right thing to do is. The Bhagavad Gita teaches us that the key to navigating these situations is to focus on dharma, on what is right and just, even if it's difficult or unpopular. As Arjuna struggles with his doubts, he turns to his charioteer, who is none other than Lord Krishna himself. Krishna begins to teach Arjuna about the nature of the self, about the importance of detachment, and about the path to spiritual enlightenment. The teachings of the Bhagavad Gita are timeless and universal. They offer us a roadmap to navigate the challenges of life and to find inner peace and spiritual fulfillment. Chapter 1 of the Bhagavad Gita sets the stage for this journey. It reminds us that the struggle between dharma and adharma is not just an external conflict, but an internal one as well. And it teaches us that the key to victory is not just in winning battles, but in mastering our own minds. The Bhagavad Gita is a sacred text of Hinduism that teaches the essence of the Vedas and Upanishads. Chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita is titled Sankhya Yoga and contains the teachings of Lord Krishna to Arjuna, who is struggling with the decision to fight in a war against his own family. The essence of Chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita can be summarized in the following points. Self-realization. Lord Krishna teaches Arjuna that the true nature of the self is eternal and indestructible. The physical body may perish, but the self is eternal and immutable. He emphasizes the importance of self-realization as the path to liberation. Detachment. Lord Krishna teaches Arjuna that attachment to the material world leads to suffering. He explains that the pursuit of material possessions and desires is a never-ending cycle that only leads to more suffering. He encourages Arjuna to detach from these desires and focus on the ultimate goal of liberation. Karma Yoga. Lord Krishna introduces the concept of Karma Yoga, which is the path of selfless action. He teaches that one should perform their duties without attachment to the outcome and without seeking personal gain or reward. By doing so, one can purify their mind and attain liberation. Importance of action. Lord Krishna emphasizes the importance of action in life. He teaches that one should not shirk their duties, but instead perform them with dedication and devotion. He explains that action is necessary for the maintenance of the world and that it is the duty of every individual to perform their role in society. Transcendence. Lord Krishna teaches Arjuna that the ultimate goal of life is to transcend the material world and attain liberation. He explains that one must overcome the three modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, to achieve this goal. He emphasizes that the path of transcendence requires discipline, focus, and a deep understanding of the self. Overall, the essence of Chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita is the importance of self-realization, detachment from material desires, the path of selfless action, the importance of performing one's duties, and the ultimate goal of transcendence and liberation. These teachings are applicable to all individuals, regardless of their religious or spiritual beliefs, and provide a roadmap for a meaningful and purposeful life. Chapter 3 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita is titled Karma Yoga, and it deals with the concept of action and duty. The essence of this chapter is that performing actions in a spirit of detachment and devotion to the divine leads to liberation from the cycle of birth and death. The chapter begins with Arjuna questioning Lord Krishna about the apparent contradiction between renunciation and action. Krishna explains that true renunciation is not the abandonment of action, but rather the renunciation of attachment to the fruits of action. He encourages Arjuna to perform his duty as a warrior and fight the righteous war, but to do so without being attached to the outcome. Krishna emphasizes that performing actions without attachment to the results is the key to attaining inner peace and happiness. He explains that the performance of one's duty is necessary for the functioning of society and the maintenance of order in the world. The chapter also stresses the importance of knowledge and wisdom in understanding the true nature of action and the self. Krishna explains that the self is eternal and indestructible, and that it is only the body that is subject to birth and death. Overall, the essence of Chapter 3 is that performing one's duty without attachment to the results and with devotion to the divine leads to spiritual growth and liberation. Chapter 4 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita is titled Jnana Yoga, or the Yoga of Knowledge. This chapter emphasizes the importance of knowledge in attaining liberation from the cycle of birth and death. Here are some key points from Chapter 4 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna reveals that he has imparted the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita to the sun god Vidisvan, who then passed it down to his son Manu, and so on. This indicates that the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita is not new, but rather an ancient wisdom that has been passed down from one generation to another. Lord Krishna emphasizes the importance of action in attaining liberation. He says that one should perform action without attachment to the fruits of the action, and that such action leads to purification of the mind and ultimately to liberation. Lord Krishna also discusses the concept of the avatar, or the divine incarnation. He says that whenever there is a decline in righteousness and an increase in unrighteousness, he incarnates in human form to restore balance and protect the virtuous. Lord Krishna also discusses the benefits of worshipping him with devotion and surrender. He says that such worship leads to liberation and that he will protect his devotees from all obstacles and difficulties. Overall, Chapter 4 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita emphasizes the importance of knowledge, action, devotion, and surrender in attaining liberation. It also provides insight into the concept of the avatar and the importance of performing action without attachment to the fruits of the action. Chapter 5 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita is titled Karma Sannyas Yoga, or the Yoga of Renunciation of Action. This chapter emphasizes the importance of renunciation and detachment in the pursuit of spiritual liberation. Here are some key points from Chapter 5 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna explains the concept of renunciation and the benefits of renouncing the fruits of one's actions. He says that true renunciation is not giving up action, but giving up attachment to the fruits of action. Such renunciation leads to freedom from bondage and the attainment of inner peace. Lord Krishna also discusses the concept of the karma yogi, or the one who performs action without attachment. He emphasizes that the karma yogi does not renounce action, but renounces the desire for personal gain or recognition. Lord Krishna explains that the path of renunciation and the path of action are not separate, but rather interdependent. One who renounces the fruits of action can still perform action as a duty, and one who performs action as a duty can still renounce the desire for personal gain. Lord Krishna emphasizes the importance of self-realization in the pursuit of spiritual liberation. He says that one who has realized the true nature of the self is free from all bondage and attains supreme bliss. Overall, Chapter 5 of the Srimad Bhagavadgita emphasizes the importance of renunciation, detachment, and self-realization in the pursuit of spiritual liberation. It provides insight into the concept of the karma yogi and the interdependence of the path of renunciation and the path of action. Chapter 6 of the Srimad Bhagavadgita is titled Dhyana Yoga, or Atmasamyama Yoga, or the Yoga of Meditation. This chapter emphasizes the importance of meditation and the control of the mind as a means of attaining spiritual liberation. Here are some key points from Chapter 6 of the Srimad Bhagavadgita. Lord Krishna explains the concept of yoga as the union of the individual self with the universal self. He says that the yogi who has achieved such union is free from all suffering and attains supreme bliss. Lord Krishna emphasizes the importance of controlling the mind and the senses in the practice of yoga. He says that the mind is the friend of the yogi who has control over it, and the enemy of the yogi who does not. Lord Krishna also explains the technique of meditation as a means of controlling the mind. He describes the proper posture, the object of meditation, and the process of concentration. Lord Krishna emphasizes the importance of detachment and equanimity in the practice of yoga. He says that the yogi who is equanimous towards pleasure and pain, heat and cold, and honor and dishonor, is free from all attachments and attains supreme peace. Overall, Chapter 6 of the Srimad Bhagavadgita emphasizes the importance of meditation and the control of the mind as a means of attaining spiritual liberation. It provides insight into the concept of yoga as the union of the individual self with the universal self, and emphasizes the importance of detachment and equanimity in the practice of yoga. Chapter 7 of the Srimad Bhagavadgita is titled Jnana Vijnana Yoga, or the Yoga of Knowledge and Realization. This chapter emphasizes the importance of understanding the nature of God as the means of attaining spiritual liberation. Here are some key points from Chapter 7 of the Srimad Bhagavadgita. Lord Krishna explains the nature of God as the supreme being who pervades everything in the universe. He says that the material nature and the living beings are all manifestations of God's energy. Lord Krishna emphasizes the importance of understanding the nature of God as the means of attaining spiritual liberation. He says that those who understand God's nature as the all-pervading supreme being, without any material or mental conceptions, attain eternal freedom. Lord Krishna also explains that there are 4 types of people who approach God: those who are distressed, those who desire material gain, those who seek knowledge, and those who are already in knowledge. He says that those who are already in knowledge are the highest among them. Lord Krishna emphasizes the importance of devotional service as a means of understanding God's nature. He says that those who engage in devotional service with full faith and dedication can understand the true nature of God. Overall, Chapter 7 of the Srimad Bhagavadgita emphasizes the importance of understanding the nature of God as the means of attaining spiritual liberation. It provides insight into the nature of God as the all-pervading supreme being, and the importance of devotional service in understanding his nature. Chapter 8 of the Srimad Bhagavadgita is titled Akshara Parabrahma Yoga, or the Yoga of the Imperishable Brahman. This chapter emphasizes the importance of understanding the imperishable nature of the soul and the process of attaining the highest spiritual destination. Here are some key points from Chapter 8 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna explains the process of leaving the body at the time of death and the importance of remembering him at that time. He says that those who remember him at the time of death attain his spiritual abode. Lord Krishna also explains that the nature of the soul is imperishable and indestructible. He says that the soul is not affected by the material nature and is distinct from the body and mind. Lord Krishna emphasizes the importance of understanding the nature of the soul and the process of attaining the highest spiritual destination. He says that those who understand the nature of the imperishable soul and engage in devotional service with full faith and dedication can attain the highest spiritual destination. Lord Krishna also explains that there are two paths after death, the path of light and the path of darkness. Those who follow the path of light attain the spiritual abode of the Supreme, while those who follow the path of darkness are reborn in the material world. Overall, Chapter 8 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita emphasizes the importance of understanding the imperishable nature of the soul and the process of attaining the highest spiritual destination. It provides insight into the process of leaving the body at the time of death and the importance of remembering the Supreme Lord at that time. Welcome to our channel. Today we will discuss the essence of the 9th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. This chapter is known as the Raja Vidya Raja Gahi Yoga, which means the king of knowledge and king of secrets. This chapter is the essence of the entire Bhagavadgita. It reveals the most confidential knowledge about the relationship between the living entity and the Supreme Lord. In this chapter, Lord Krishna explains that he is the Supreme Lord of all creation and that everything emanates from him. He also explains the different types of devotees, their qualifications, and their spiritual paths. The most important teaching of this chapter is the way to achieve the ultimate goal of life, which is to surrender to the Supreme Lord with love and devotion. The 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is very important for all spiritual seekers, as it provides the ultimate knowledge and understanding of the nature of the Supreme Lord and our relationship with him. So, let us all strive to understand and implement the teachings of this chapter in our lives to attain the ultimate goal of life. Chapter 10 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita is titled Vibhuti Yoga, which means the yoga of divine manifestations. In this chapter, Lord Krishna reveals his divine glories and manifests his universal form to Arjuna. The essence of Chapter 10 is to emphasize that the divine is present in everything and everyone in the universe. Lord Krishna explains that he is the source of all creation and the cause of all things. He also describes his different divine qualities and how they manifest in the world. Through this chapter, Lord Krishna emphasizes that everything in the universe is an expression of his divine nature, and that spiritual seekers should seek to recognize and understand this divine presence in everything. He also encourages Arjuna and all spiritual seekers to surrender to him with devotion and to always remember him in their hearts. Overall, the essence of Chapter 10 is to emphasize the divine nature of everything in the universe and to encourage spiritual seekers to recognize and surrender to the divine presence in everything. The Viswarupa Sandarshana Yoga is the 11th chapter of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. In this chapter, Lord Krishna reveals his universal form to Arjuna, showing him the vastness and grandeur of the divine. The essence of this chapter is to emphasize the divine nature of Lord Krishna and the universe. Lord Krishna reveals his universal form to Arjuna, showing him that he is present in everything and everyone in the universe. Through this form, Lord Krishna shows the interconnectedness of all things and the all-encompassing nature of his divine presence. The chapter also highlights the importance of devotion and surrender to the divine. Arjuna is overwhelmed by the vision of the universal form and expresses his awe and reverence towards Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna tells him to let go of his fears and doubts and to surrender to him completely. Overall, the essence of the Viswarupa Sandarshana Yoga is to emphasize the divine nature of the universe and the importance of devotion and surrender to the divine. It shows that the ultimate goal of spiritual practice is to recognize and realize the divine presence in everything and to surrender to it with love and devotion. Bhakti Yoga is one of the main paths of spiritual practice described in the Srimad Bhagavadgita. The word bhakti means devotion, and Bhakti Yoga is the path of devotion and love towards the divine. The essence of Bhakti Yoga in the Bhagavad Gita is to emphasize the importance of devotion, surrender, and love towards the divine. Lord Krishna explains that the ultimate goal of all spiritual practice is to attain love and devotion towards the divine and to surrender oneself completely to the divine will. Bhakti Yoga emphasizes that the most important aspect of spiritual practice is the attitude of devotion and love towards the divine rather than external rituals or practices. Lord Krishna encourages his devotees to cultivate a loving relationship with him through the practice of Bhakti Yoga, which includes chanting the divine names, reading and contemplating on scriptures, serving the divine in various forms, and surrendering one's ego to the divine will. Through Bhakti Yoga, one can attain spiritual liberation and a deep sense of inner peace and joy. Bhakti Yoga is accessible to everyone, regardless of their social status, gender, or spiritual background, and it is considered to be the easiest and most effective path of spiritual practice in the Bhagavad Gita. Overall, the essence of Bhakti Yoga in the Bhagavad Gita is to emphasize the importance of devotion and love towards the divine, and to encourage spiritual seekers to cultivate a deep and loving relationship with the divine through the practice of Bhakti Yoga. Chapter 13 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita is titled Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga, where Kshetra means the field and Kshetrajnam means the knower of the field. In this chapter, Lord Krishna explains the nature of the body and the soul, and the difference between the field and the knower of the field. The essence of Chapter 13 is to emphasize the importance of understanding the true nature of the self and the world. Lord Krishna explains that the body is the field, and the soul is the knower of the field. He emphasizes that the body is constantly changing and subject to the laws of nature, whereas the soul is eternal and unchanging. Lord Krishna also describes the different aspects of nature, including the 5 elements, the ego, intelligence, and the unmanifested. He explains that everything in the universe is an expression of these aspects of nature, and that understanding them can help one to transcend the limitations of the material world. Through this chapter, Lord Krishna encourages spiritual seekers to cultivate detachment towards the material world and to focus on understanding the nature of the self and the divine. He emphasizes that true knowledge comes from understanding the true nature of the self and the world, and that this knowledge can lead to spiritual liberation. Overall, the essence of Chapter 13 is to emphasize the importance of understanding the true nature of the self and the world, and to encourage spiritual seekers to cultivate detachment and focus on the pursuit of spiritual knowledge. Chapter 14 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita is titled Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga, which means yoga of the 3 modes of material nature. In this chapter, Lord Krishna explains to Arjuna the 3 gunas, or modes of material nature, that influence all living beings and the world around us. These 3 gunas are known as sattva, goodness, rajas, passion, and tamas, ignorance. Lord Krishna explains that everything in the universe is made up of these 3 gunas, and that they affect our thoughts, actions, and behavior. He also explains that one should strive to attain a state of sattva, which is characterized by purity, clarity, and peacefulness, and which leads to spiritual progress and liberation from the cycle of birth and death. Lord Krishna also emphasizes that one should be aware of the influence of the other 2 gunas, rajas and tamas, which can lead to attachment, desire, and ignorance. By understanding and transcending these 3 modes, one can attain true knowledge and spiritual enlightenment. Overall, the essence of Chapter 14 is to emphasize the importance of understanding the 3 gunas and their effects on our lives, and to strive towards attaining a state of sattva, which leads to spiritual progress and liberation. Chapter 15 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita is titled Purush Attama Prapti Yoga, which means the yoga of attaining the Supreme Person. In this chapter, Lord Krishna explains the nature of the Supreme Person and the process of attaining him. The essence of Chapter 15 is to emphasize the importance of understanding the true nature of the Supreme Person and the process of attaining Him. Lord Krishna describes the nature of the Supreme Person as the eternal, unchanging, and all-pervading source of everything in the universe. He explains that the process of attaining the Supreme Person involves cultivating detachment towards the material world and focusing on the pursuit of spiritual knowledge and devotion. Lord Krishna emphasizes the importance of surrendering to the Supreme Person with devotion and love, and of always remembering Him in the heart. Through this chapter, Lord Krishna also emphasizes the concept of the eternal tree of life, which represents the cycle of birth and death in the material world. He explains that this tree has its roots in the divine and that one can attain spiritual liberation by cutting off attachment to the material world and taking shelter of the Supreme Person. Overall, the essence of Chapter 15 is to emphasize the importance of understanding the true nature of the Supreme Person and the process of attaining Him. It emphasizes the importance of cultivating detachment, surrender, and devotion towards the divine, and of cutting off attachment to the material world to attain spiritual liberation. Chapter 16 of the Srimad Bhagavadgita is titled Deva Asura Sampath Vibhaga Yoga, which means the divine and demonic natures. In this chapter, Lord Krishna explains the nature of the divine and demonic tendencies that exist within all human beings. The essence of Chapter 16 is to emphasize the importance of cultivating divine qualities and avoiding demonic tendencies. Lord Krishna describes the divine qualities as being characterized by humility, purity, self-control, non-violence, truthfulness, and compassion. In contrast, the demonic tendencies are characterized by arrogance, greed, anger, hypocrisy, violence, and lack of compassion. Lord Krishna explains that those who cultivate divine qualities are bound for spiritual liberation, while those who are dominated by demonic tendencies are doomed to a life of suffering and spiritual degradation. He encourages spiritual seekers to cultivate the divine qualities and to avoid the demonic tendencies, as this is the path to happiness and spiritual progress. Through this chapter, Lord Krishna also emphasizes the importance of understanding the true nature of the world and of the divine. He explains that the material world is a temporary and illusory realm, and that true happiness and fulfillment can only be found by cultivating a loving relationship with the divine. Overall, the essence of Chapter 16 is to emphasize the importance of cultivating divine qualities and avoiding demonic tendencies. It encourages spiritual seekers to understand the true nature of the world and of the divine, and to focus on the pursuit of spiritual knowledge and the cultivation of a loving relationship with the divine. Chapter 17 of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita is titled Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga, which means the yoga of the three types of faith. In this chapter, Lord Krishna explains the nature of faith and how it influences human behavior and spiritual progress. The essence of Chapter 17 is to emphasize the importance of cultivating faith in the pursuit of spiritual knowledge and practice. Lord Krishna explains that faith is of three types: sattvic, pure; rajasic, passionate; and tamasic, ignorant. He emphasizes that the type of faith one cultivates determines their behavior and spiritual progress. Those who cultivate sattvic faith are characterized by purity, humility, and devotion to the divine. Those who cultivate rajasic faith are characterized by ambition, passion, and attachment to material success. And those who cultivate tamasic faith are characterized by ignorance, laziness, and a lack of spiritual knowledge. Lord Krishna encourages spiritual seekers to cultivate sattvic faith by practicing spiritual disciplines, such as meditation, selfless service, and devotion to the divine. He also emphasizes the importance of performing actions in accordance with one's faith and with a sense of duty, without attachment to the results. Through this chapter, Lord Krishna also emphasizes the importance of understanding the true nature of offerings, austerity, and charity. He explains that these practices should be performed with purity of heart and without attachment to the results. Overall, the essence of Chapter 17 is to emphasize the importance of cultivating pure faith and practicing spiritual disciplines to achieve spiritual progress. It encourages spiritual seekers to understand the true nature of offerings, austerity, and charity, and to perform actions in accordance with their faith and duty, without attachment to the results. Chapter 18 of the Srimad Bhagavadgita is titled Moksha Sannyasa Yoga, which means the yoga of liberation through renunciation. In this chapter, Lord Krishna summarizes the teachings of the previous chapters and provides a comprehensive understanding of the path of spiritual liberation. The essence of Chapter 18 is to emphasize the importance of acting in accordance with one's true nature and duty, without attachment to the results. Lord Krishna explains that all human beings have a unique nature and corresponding duty, known as svadharma, and that following this duty is essential for spiritual progress. He also emphasizes the importance of renunciation, which involves detaching oneself from material desires and attachments in order to focus on the pursuit of spiritual knowledge and practice. Lord Krishna explains that true renunciation is not about giving up action, but rather about performing action without attachment to the results. Through this chapter, Lord Krishna also emphasizes the importance of knowledge and self-realization in the pursuit of spiritual liberation. He explains that true knowledge involves understanding the nature of the self, the divine, and the material world, and that self-realization is the ultimate goal of spiritual practice. Overall, the essence of Chapter 18 is to emphasize the importance of acting in accordance with one's true nature and duty, and of cultivating detachment and spiritual knowledge in the pursuit of spiritual liberation. It encourages spiritual seekers to understand the nature of the self, the divine, and the material world, and to perform actions without attachment to the results, ultimately leading to the realization of the true self and attainment of spiritual liberation. Thank you for watching Sabharsh TV. We hope you found this video informative and engaging. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like, comment, and share with your friends and family. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon to be notified immediately whenever we upload a new video. Your support means everything to us, and we appreciate your dedication to our mission of spreading spiritual knowledge and wisdom. Thank you once again, and we look forward to connecting with you in our next video. Until then, take care of yourself and your loved ones.